ADB is working and focusing on secondary cities, mainly in Vietnam and some of the other countries. But it's not only focusing on secondary cities; it is also working with megacities. You have to understand that megacities are also made up of several small cities. For example, Metro Manila, you have several small cities and municipalities within that boundary. So ADB is not just focusing on secondary cities, but it is increasingly responding to the demands of what the governments want. In Vietnam, we are working with the government to take forward the secondary cities development program, and this was mainly to address the national policies that they have for decentralization and promoting the capitals of the provincial governments. There we are actually supporting 3 different models of growth. One is Hue, which is a coastal city. It has some economic assets, it has some industry, some handicrafts, and it is a historic center. It's a tourism destination. So we are supporting this city, which is a UNESCO heritage city, and providing environmental infrastructure. We are looking at also flood protection. So these infrastructure developments actually support the economic competitiveness of that city. The other city which we are looking at is Viet, which is a peri-urban or a satellite city of Hanoi. So this takes away pressure from the megacity. So Hanoi is a megacity. Viet is a smaller city, which is about 20 kilometers from Hanoi, about 40 kilometers from Hanoi and 20 kilometers from the international airport. That actually is it's an industrial belt. It's providing export processing services. It is closer to the international airport, so it can develop as a niche market. It can develop in its own right and take the pressure away from Hanoi. So this is the second model of growth. The third one is a very much smaller city, Ha Giang, which is a border town close to the northern border, and that has its own agro industries. It can be developed as a different model. It's a much smaller town. So this is we actually approaching these cities from building on their existing assets and then working towards what kind of infrastructure needs they have. China is increasing the development aid to Mekong countries like Myanmar, and of course all the countries that I spoke of, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, PDR, they all are part of the greater Mekong sub-region. And most of the issues that I spoke of just now, they are relevant as far as improving access, improving connectivity of the hinterland, improving market conditions, enabling policies at the national level, and enabling local action. These are some of the things that can be promoted, but particularly in supporting private sector development and industries in the rural areas, where it may be agro-based industries, or it may be connecting markets and the local vendors, the locally produced goods with markets. Or like in Myanmar, there's a strong, the Chinese business is very strong in Myanmar, and Myanmar has a potential to be a good transport and tourism hub. So support to transport infrastructure and to tourism infrastructure would definitely be useful. I think what these countries, like particularly with Vietnam, or what they have done is they have built on their existing strengths. Rather than looking at large-scale relocations, they have strengthened the existing urban centers, and this is something which can certainly be useful for China. Looking at secondary cities or second-tier towns and medium-sized cities, and what could be possible in terms of developing the skills of the people there, providing alternate livelihoods, and possibly looking at rural development policy that does not depend on only the seasonal income and then you have migration going to cities. So looking at a joint integrated urban and rural development policy would be a useful thing.